Oh man, Caitlyn Jenner. They done got some people mad with this one, but we gotta talk about this shit because I heard some very valid points, and I want to know what y'all think about it. Okay, let's get into the context.
Now let's be facts.
There's so many things on YouTube on kids who have transitioned, and people see this, and it's become right now, this issue has become so big. Almost every day on the news there's something about being trans. That kind of bothers me, to be honest with you, for this reason. Being trans is about that much of the population. It is such a small group of people that are actually trans, or really suffering with gender dysphoria. And right now, because of the amount of publicity that it's getting, it's like everybody thinks they're trans, which is not the case.
I ain't gonna lie, that facial structure is strong. That shit's strong, bro. I'm like, yo, okay, that was just like my most initial thought after that video, okay? Now, to what was actually said, okay? I won't lie, I couldn't agree more. So, Caitlyn mentioned that the trans community is such a small portion of the society, or the population, and I went and looked it up. And the first thing I noticed is how there's no statistic of the amount of kids that's transgender, okay? There's no stat on the kids, the under 18 crowd, all right? And that's very profound. I mean, take from that what information you want, but that says a lot, okay? I just want you to know that hidden agenda, that right there says a lot. Now, people have mentioned this before, like plenty of times. It's almost a debate now. It's almost a debate now of the agenda that, you know, whoever, you know, upstairs is pushing. That community out there, they're definitely pushing this agenda, and it has to be discussed. Because what I just come to that conclusion, right? For Caitlyn Jenner, who's like, I guess the head honcho of this shit, you know, the head honcho of, I guess, being bold enough and, you know, being confident enough to make that transition, for Caitlyn Jenner to say that, you know, I guess Caitlyn is seeing what a lot of other people are seeing. The agenda of, like, you know, damn near every day on the news, on the popular media and shit, this underage ass kid is wants to transition to become the opposite gender, whatever the case is. And I'm like, bro, under 18, and Lil Boosie makes this a big point, you know, on his ongoing saga with D-Wade and, you know, that whole situation right there. The under 18 crowd, it's just like, bro, what? Under 18? You gotta have your parents' permission to sign off on these waivers and shit like that? Just that alone, it's just like with the BBL thing. You under the age to the point where you have to have your parents sign off on that shit. You know it's something that you shouldn't be doing. It's just like getting a tattoo. If you have to have your parents sign off on that shit, I mean, it's obvious there's a reason why there's an age restriction for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And another point I wanted to bring up with that agenda, it's obvious that it affects kids the most, because kids are followers and kids are very impressionable. Just think about this situation right now. Think about all the times when you were a kid, or whatever the case is, or if you're a kid watching my video right now, think about these times where your friend is doing something, or somebody you know that's close to you, maybe even a family member is doing something, and you're like, oh my God, I want to do that too. Now, it definitely don't have to be to that extreme, but just think about your friend or someone close to you doing something, and you wanted to do it just because they was doing that shit. It's things like that happens in this regard right here. It's to the point even of, like, you know, people that claim to be, you know, not hetero, okay? We could say that's an agenda too. And here's what I wanted to bring up with in that regard too. Because people like to bring up, oh, why would anyone fake it? Like, why would anyone want to lie about it or do it for clout or whatever the case is? But you have to think about, why is the narrative that there's even an agenda around this shit? Why is that even a thing? Well, like, why do people argue that this is just a trend? Why do people argue that? I had to think about that too. Like, why would people even bring up like, oh, he's just doing that shit for clout? Why would anyone bring that up? If it was a legit thing. If it was a legit thing, nobody would be arguing like, oh, this person is just doing that shit for clout. Oh, this person is just doing that shit for clout. Because you gotta think about it. No one says Caitlyn Jenner did that shit for clout. No one says Caitlyn Jenner did that shit just to be popular. You see the thing right there, right? I got you. I got you. Because don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. And Caitlyn Jenner mentioned it too. There's a very small population of people that actually suffer from the real gender dysphoria that you can't disagree with them. You can't. This is just really entrenched in them that they feel like they was born in the wrong body. But for Caitlyn, I just have to mention it because Caitlyn is a part of that community. And for Caitlyn to mention that, it has to be very profound, right? I think. But I think we can't deny that there's definitely a trend. It's definitely seen as like, oh my God, you're so powerful, you're so great, you're so this and that. And like I personally fully agree with what Lil Boosie would say. Like, if you're under 18, it's just not the right decision to make. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just not. And last point I wanted to bring up is like, Caitlyn mentioned how because of the amount of publicity around it, like I just said, when we come out, like you feel like you're in the wrong body or whatever case, in the wrong gender, it's like, oh my God, she's such a pioneer, she's so powerful, or he's so powerful, or all of that shit. Publicity. That's exactly the reason why people say this person is doing that shit for clout. That's exactly why. Because you do that, your followers increase exponentially. The opportunities you get increase exponentially. I mean, if it walks like a duck, bro, and talks like a damn duck, it's a damn duck, right? There's a reason why people bring this shit up. That there's a narrative behind it. Or that this is an agenda. Or people doing this shit for clout. There's a reason why people bring that up, man. Caitlyn brought it up in a very more sophisticated way, in a way more sophisticated way, but it's the same thing. Doing that shit for clout. And it's unfortunate because there is legit people out there who genuinely feel like they was born in the wrong body. And they want to make that transition, but they may be hesitant now because they're like, wait, all these people doing that shit, they don't really know the feeling. They don't really know. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into all of that, bro. That's a whole other thing, man. But let me know what y'all think, though. Let me know. Do you agree or disagree with what Caitlyn said about the whole, the narrative behind it? Like, everyone or so much people think they're trans and they're not. Do you agree with that? Let me know what y'all think. I already know this is not very YouTube friendly. I already know. But let me know what y'all think, though, man. Like, comment, subscribe. If you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate it, man. Click that link in my description. Book that consultation, bro. You will not be disappointed, man. Thank you. And more videos coming soon.